You do not remember being born because you were not born in any way that matters. You were decanted, pulled from a gestation chamber on Camino, a world of endless storms and sterile white corridors, where the rain never stops and the lightning illuminates rows upon rows of transparent tubes filled with things that will become. Soldiers, the Kaminoans who hover over your chamber, do not look at you with warmth or recognition. Their large, unblinking eyes examine you the way a technician might inspect a faulty circuit board, checking for defects, measuring your vitals against predetermined standards. You are CC-2379, nothing more, and even before you can walk or speak, you understand on some primal level that you are property, a product engineered for a singular purpose. Your earliest memories are not of comfort or play, but of cold metal floors beneath bare feet and the acrid smell of Bacta tanks, mixed with the sterile chemical scent that permeates every corner of Tipoca City. The Kaminoans speak about you in their clinical language, discussing your accelerated aging as though it is a feature rather than a curse, a selling point rather than a death sentence. You are growing at twice the rate of a natural human, which means that by the time you are 5 years old in actual time, your body carries the weight and wear of a 10-year-old child. Your bones ache with a strange heaviness, your muscles developing at a pace that sometimes leaves you gasping in pain during the night cycles when the other cadets in your barracks sleep fitfully in their narrow bunks. There is no childhood for you, no gentle introduction to the galaxy or its wonders. From the moment you can stand, you are drilled. The training facility is a massive complex of gunmetal gray and harsh white lighting, where every surface is hard and every sound echoes. The Kaminoan trainers, tall and graceful in their movements, show no mercy to the small bodies stumbling through combat exercises. You learn to hold a DC-15 training blaster when you're 3 years old, your 6-year-old body barely strong enough to keep the weapon steady. The weight of it digs into your shoulder, and the first time you fire it in the training range, the recoil nearly knocks you backward. The Kaminoan instructor does not help you up. Instead, it makes a notation on its datapad, and you understand without words that this mark against you could mean decommissioning. Decommissioning is the word they use, clean and technical, but you and the other cadets know what it really means. The clones who fail, who cannot keep up with the brutal pace of training, who show defects or weakness, simply disappear. One morning they are in their bunk, and the next morning the bunk is empty, the sheets pulled tight and impersonal as though no one ever slept there at all. No one speaks about the disappeared ones. To acknowledge their absence is to acknowledge your own potential for failure, and failure is death. The training never stops. Every waking hour is accounted for, scheduled down to the minute. You wake at 500 hours to the harsh blare of klaxons, the sound drilling into your skull and yanking you from whatever brief escape sleep might have offered. You have 5 minutes to dress in your cadet uniform, gray and formless, and fall into formation in the corridor outside your barracks. The Kaminoan trainers walk between the rows of identical faces, identical bodies, searching for any sign of individuality that must be suppressed, any deviation from the perfect soldier template. You learn to stand perfectly still, to control your breathing, to show nothing on your face even when exhaustion makes your legs tremble and your vision blur at the edges. Breakfast is not a meal, but a necessary refueling. You file into the nutrition hall with hundreds of other cadets, the sound of boots on metal floors creating a rhythmic thunder that never quite leaves your ears. The food is a gray paste, engineered by the Kaminoans for maximum nutritional value and minimum cost. It has no flavor, or rather, it has a flavor so aggressively neutral that it coats your tongue like chemicals. You eat it with a spork from a metal tray, standing at long tables because sitting would waste time. The paste is room temperature, slightly grainy, and it leaves an aftertaste like recycled air. You eat every bite because you need the calories for the day ahead, because wasting food is wasting resources, and wasting resources makes you expendable. After the brief nutrition period comes physical training. The Kaminoans have designed obstacle courses that would challenge fully grown soldiers, and they run you through them anyway, your child body pushed to its absolute limits. You climb walls 3 times your height, your fingers bloodied and raw from gripping the textured durasteel. You crawl through narrow tubes filled with smoke that burns your eyes and throat, simulating battlefield conditions, teaching you to function through pain and disorientation. You run kilometers through corridors and training grounds while wearing weighted packs, your heart hammering so hard you think it might burst through your ribs. The other cadets run beside you, faces twisted with effort, and sometimes one of them falls, unable to continue. The trainers do not stop the exercise. They simply make notes, and the fallen cadet is taken away. You learn not to look, to focus only on putting one foot in front of the other, on surviving. Then comes weapons training. The DC-15 blaster carbine becomes an extension of your body. You learn to field strip it blindfolded, to clear jams in seconds, to compensate for its weight and recoil. The training facility has firing ranges that stretch for hundreds of meters, filled with pop-up targets and holographic enemies. You stand in your designated firing position for hours, taking shot after shot, until your shoulder is one massive bruise and the muscles in your arms burn with lactic acid. The Kaminoans track your accuracy with cold precision, demanding better groupings, faster target acquisition, smoother transitions between targets. Every miss is a failure. Every failure brings you closer to decommissioning. You're 6 years old, with the body of a 12-year-old, when they introduce live fire exercises. The training facility transforms into a kill box, filled with moving targets and real weapons that can really kill you. They pair you with other cadets, forming squads of 5, and send you through scenarios designed to test your ability to function under lethal pressure. The first time you see another cadet take a training bolt to the chest, the smell of burnt plastoid and seared flesh fills your nostrils, acrid and wrong. The cadet, a boy you have shared a barracks with for years, goes down hard, his armor smoking. The Kaminoan observers do not stop the exercise. They watch, emotionless, as medic droids rush forward to stabilize him. You learn to keep moving, to complete the objective, to accept that casualties are inevitable. The psychological conditioning is perhaps worse than the physical training, though you do not have the words to articulate this for many years. The Kaminoans use flash training, feeding information directly into your brain through neural interface headsets that leave you with splitting headaches and nosebleeds. You sit in rows with your fellow cadets, the metal crown of the flash trainer pressing against your temples, while data streams into your consciousness. Battle tactics, weapons specifications, enemy capabilities, chain of command protocols. The information feels foreign and invasive, like something being poured into your skull that does not quite fit. When the session ends and they remove the headset, you sometimes cannot remember your own designation for several minutes, lost in a flood of military doctrine and strategic. They teach you that your life has no value except in service to the Republic. They teach you that the Jedi are your commanders, and you will follow their orders without question or hesitation. They teach you that individuality is weakness, that questioning is treason, that your brothers are the only family you will ever know, and you will die for them without a second thought. These lessons are repeated so many times in so many ways that they become the foundation of your identity. You are a soldier, you are a clone, you are expendable. There is a small window in your barracks, and sometimes at night when the other cadets are sleeping and the Kaminoan supervisors are elsewhere, you stand before it and look out at the ocean. Kamino is all water and storms, towering waves that crash against the support pylons of Tipoca City with enough force to shake the walls. The lightning illuminates the clouds from within, turning the sky into something alive and violent. You press your hand against the transparent steel and feel the cold seeping through. And you wonder what it would be like to be out there in that chaos, free from schedules and training and the constant pressure to perform or die. But you cannot imagine it, not really, because you have never known anything else. At 8 years old, with a 16-year-old body covered in training scars and muscles built from endless drills, you graduate from the cadet program. They assign you to a battalion, paint your armor with unit markings, and give you a DC-15 blaster rifle with live ammunition. The armor is heavy, plastoid plates over a black bodysuit that regulates your temperature and monitors your vital signs. The helmet seals around your head with a hiss of equalizing pressure, and suddenly the world is filtered through the heads-up display, everything tagged and identified and reduced to tactical information. You can smell the recycled air inside the helmet, metallic and slightly stale, and hear your own breathing amplified in the enclosed space. They ship you off Camino on a Republic assault ship, and this is the first time you have ever left the planet of your creation. You stand in the troop transport bay with 200 other clones, all of you identical, all of you silent as the ship breaks atmosphere and the artificial gravity compensates for the climb. Through the narrow viewports, you can see Camino falling away, the storm planet shrinking until it is just another point of light against the black, and you feel nothing. There is no nostalgia, no sense of leaving home, because Camino was never home. It was a factory, and you were the product. Your first deployment is to Geonosis, a desert world of red rock and insect hives where the separatists have massed their droid armies. The assault ship drops into the combat zone through a hail of anti-aircraft fire, the hull shuddering with each near miss, and you stand in the troop bay, gripping your blaster and trying to control the fear that tastes like copper in your mouth. The blast doors open onto chaos, sand and smoke and the screaming of wounded men, the thunder of artillery and the distinctive whine of blaster fire that fills the air like angry insects. Your boots hit the ground, and immediately you are moving, following your squad leader through terrain that offers no cover, charging toward droid positions that light up the desert with concentrated fire. The clone next to you takes a blaster bolt to the chest and goes down without a sound. You keep running. Another falls, and another, bodies hitting the sand in your peripheral vision, but you cannot stop, cannot think, can only follow your training and advance toward the objective. The heat is incredible. The double suns of Geonosis turning the inside of your armor into an oven, sweat pouring down your face and stinging your eyes. The HUD tracks enemy positions, friendly positions, objective markers, all of it overlaid on a battlefield that makes no sense, that is just violence and death in every direction. You fire your blaster at battle droids, the weapon bucking in your hands, the smell of ozone and burnt metal filling your helmet. The droids are everywhere, skeletal forms moving with mechanical precision, their weapons never stopping, never missing a beat. You see a droid turn toward you, its photoreceptors locking on, and you drop to one knee and put 3 bolts through its central processor before it can fire. It collapses in a shower of sparks, and you are already moving to the next target, the next threat, operating on instinct and training because thinking will get you killed. The battle lasts for hours, or maybe days, time losing all meaning in the constant assault of sensory input. You fight through droid foundries and hive tunnels, through dust storms that reduce visibility to nothing, and ambush points where the Geonosians drop from above with sonic weapons that shatter armor. You see brothers die in every conceivable way. Blaster bolts that punch through plastoid and cook the flesh beneath. Explosions that turn men into red mist and scattered pieces. Sonic weapons that liquefy internal organs while leaving armor intact, so that when you open the helmet of a fallen brother, all that spills out is blood. You learn to step over bodies without looking down, to keep fighting even when your entire squad is dead and you are alone. to accept that death is not a possibility, but an inevitability. The Republic wins the Battle of Geonosis, though the cost is staggering. Thousands of clones dead, thousands more wounded, entire companies wiped out in the initial assault. You survive, though you do not know why. What random chance kept the killing shots from finding you? They load the survivors back onto the assault ships, pack you in like cargo, and the medics move through the ranks, treating injuries with the same clinical efficiency as the Kaminoans. A clone near you has taken shrapnel to the leg, the armor peeled back and the muscle beneath visible and pulsing. The medic gives him a shot of painkiller, sprays synthaflesh over the wound, and moves on. There is no time for proper treatment, no time for recovery. The war has just begun. The Clone Wars become your existence for the next 3 years, and they are 3 years of unrelenting horror. You fight on worlds you never knew existed, under Jedi generals who lead from the front and die with disturbing regularity. You fight in jungles where the trees are alive and hostile, their branches reaching down to strangle and their roots rising up to impale. You fight in frozen wastelands where the cold seeps through your armor seals and turns your fingers black with frostbite. You fight in space, boarding actions on separatist ships where combat happens in zero gravity and a breach in your suit means death by vacuum. You fight in cities, urban warfare, where every window is a sniper position and every street is a killing ground. The war teaches you things that Kamino never could. It teaches you what a human body looks like when exposed to vacuum, the eyes bulging and the blood vessels bursting and the skin bloating grotesquely. It teaches you the sound of a man drowning in his own blood after taking a hit to the lung, that wet, rattling gasp that goes on until it finally stops. It teaches you that there are worse things than death, like being captured by separatist forces and subjected to interrogation droids that peel away sanity layer by layer. It teaches you that courage and cowardice are often indistinguishable in the moment, that the line between following orders and committing atrocities is thinner than anyone wants to admit. You learn the intimate details of suffering, the smell of gangrene in a wound that has gone untreated for too long, sweet and rotten like fruit left in the sun. The texture of bone when you are trying to apply a tourniquet and the limb is already mostly gone. The way traumatic brain injury changes a brother, leaving his body alive but his mind somewhere else, trapped in loops of memory or regression to a state of childlike confusion. You learn that the medics carry drugs that are not for saving lives, but for ending them, quick injections for brothers too badly wounded to save, too broken to carry, mercy that comes at the end of a hypo-spray. The Jedi try to treat you like people, and this is somehow more painful than the Kaminoan indifference. Your general, a Twi'lek Jedi master named Cham, learns your designation and then insists you choose a name. You choose Striker because you have seen the lightning on Kamino and it is the only thing you can think of that feels like yours. Cham uses your name, asks about your well-being, tries to make conversation during the long hyperspace jumps between battle zones. It is awkward and strange because you do not know how to relate to someone who sees you as an individual rather than a unit. Sometimes you catch Cham watching the clones with an expression of deep sadness, and you wonder what the Jedi sees when looking at you. A person? A slave? A tragedy? The casualty rates are staggering. Your original squad is gone within the first year, replaced by new faces who are themselves replaced within months. You stop learning names after a while, stop forming attachments, because it hurts less when they die if you never knew them. But they are still your brothers, still made from the same template, and every death feels like losing a piece of yourself. You perform battlefield triage, where the calculations are brutal. This clone can be saved. This one cannot. This one might be savable, but we do not have the resources. So move on. You hold brothers as they die, their blood soaking into your gloves, and you promise them it will be quick, it will not hurt. They did well. The Republic is proud. You do not know if any of this is true, but it is what they need to hear, so you say it. The Republic does not care about clones beyond their utility. You are paid, technically, but the credits go into accounts you never see, held in trust by the Republic for equipment and medical care. You own nothing except your armor and your weapon, and even those belong to the military. When clones die, their gear is stripped and redistributed, cleaned of blood and repaired and given to the next soldier. You wear armor that has seen a dozen previous owners, and sometimes you find scratches on the inside of the chest plate, marks that the previous wearer made, and you wonder what they were thinking when they carved those lines, what they were trying to remember or preserve. There are moments, brief and fleeting, when you remember what it feels like to be something other than a weapon. Sure, leave on Coruscant, walking through the lower levels where civilians live their normal lives and seeing things you have no context for. Families eating together in restaurants, children playing in the streets, couples holding hands. You stand in the middle of it all in your armor, and beings part around you like water around a stone, not meeting your eyes, uncomfortable with your presence. You are a reminder of the war they are trying to forget. A symbol of violence in their peaceful spaces. Some clones find comfort in the company of others, relationships that the Republic officially discourages, but unofficially ignores. You see brothers pairing off, finding solace in each other during the brief respites between deployments. You understand the need, but cannot bring yourself to engage in it. You're too numb, too hollowed out by 3 years of constant combat. At night, you dream of Camino, of the training facility and the cold metal floors, and you wake in a panic, reaching for your blaster before you remember where you are. The accelerated aging catches up with you in ways both obvious and subtle. You are 11 years old, but your body is 22, and already you feel the wear. Your joints ache in the morning, especially your knees from all the running and crouching. You have scars layered on scars, the tissue healed but never quite right, leaving patches of numbness or hypersensitivity across your skin. Your hearing is damaged from years of weapons fire, a constant ringing in your ears that never quite fades. You take stims to stay alert during long operations, and afterwards you crash so hard that you sleep for 16 hours straight, your body demanding payment for being pushed beyond its limits. You know you are dying faster than you should, that every year of your life costs you 2 years of existence. The knowledge sits in the back of your mind like a chronic ache. If you survive the war, if you somehow make it through the impossible odds and the endless deployments, you will have maybe 20 years of life left, 20 years of accelerated aging where you will decay twice as fast as a normal human. There is no retirement plan for clones. No pension or provision for the future. You exist to fight and die, and the order in which those things happen is irrelevant to the Republic that owns you. 3 years into the war, something shifts in the command structure. Orders coming down from the highest levels that make your Jedi general tense and withdrawn. Charm stops using your name as often, becomes distant in a way that feels like preparation for loss. You do not understand until the day it happens, the day that everything changes and nothing is ever the same again. You are on Felucia, deployed in a jungle campaign against separatist holdouts. The air is thick and humid, filled with spores that clog your helmet filters and make breathing a conscious effort. Your battalion has been fighting for 6 days straight, pushing through terrain that fights back, where the plants have teeth and the water carries diseases that can kill a clone in hours. You're exhausted beyond measure, running on stims and willpower, but the objective is close. Just one more push and the sector will be clear. Then your helmet comm crackles to life, and a voice you do not recognize speaks a phrase that means nothing and everything. Execute Order 66. Something happens inside your head. It is not painful, not exactly, but it feels wrong, like a switch being flipped, like suddenly there is something else in your mind with you, something old and buried that has been waiting. Your thoughts scatter and reform around a single imperative, clear and undeniable and absolute. The Jedi are traitors. The Jedi must be eliminated. General Cham, who learned your name, who tried to treat you like a person, is an enemy of the Republic. You turn, and Cham is there, standing just ahead of you in the jungle clearing, back turned, focused on the tactical display on the hollow projector. Your brothers are turning too, all of you moving with mechanical precision, raising your blasters in perfect sync. Cham senses something, starts to turn, eyes widening as the Jedi realizes what is happening. You see recognition there, and betrayal, and terrible understanding. You fire, your brothers fire. The clearing lights up with blaster bolts, dozens of them converging on the Jedi from all sides. Cham's lightsaber ignites, green blades spinning in desperate defense, deflecting bolts that scream back into the jungle. The Jedi is fast, impossibly fast, but there are too many angles, too many shots. One gets through, then another, burning holes in the Jedi's robes, and Cham staggers, the lightsaber dipping. You keep firing, walking forward, methodical and calm. Cham falls to one knee, the lightsaber falling from nerveless fingers, and looks up at you. Your finger is on the trigger, ready to put the final bolt through the Jedi's head, and in that moment you see something in Cham's face. Not anger or fear, but profound sadness, grief for what has been done to you, mourning for the person you might have been if you had ever been given a choice. You fire. The bolt takes Cham in the center of mass, and the Jedi crumples, smoke rising from the wound. You stand over the body, blaster still raised, and feel nothing. The thing in your head is satisfied, the imperative fulfilled. The Jedi is dead. The traitor is eliminated. The Republic is safe. The next days are a blur of similar executions. Your battalion hunts down the remaining Jedi in the sector, tracking them through the jungle and killing them without mercy or hesitation. Some fight back, cut down clones before being overwhelmed by sheer numbers. Some try to talk, to reason, to reach the soldiers they thought were friends. It makes no difference. The order is absolute, and you follow it because you are a clone trooper, and following orders is what you were made to do. The Republic becomes the Empire, and nothing changes for you except the color of the banners. The Emperor speaks of order and security, of ending the chaos of war, but you are still fighting, still dying, still serving. The Jedi are gone. The Separatists are defeated, but there are insurgents now, rebels who resist Imperial rule, and they must be pacified. You are deployed to worlds where the population does not want Imperial governance, where your presence is occupation rather than liberation. You kick in doors and drag people from their homes. You stand watch while Imperial intelligence conducts interrogations. You execute civilians designated as rebel sympathizers, putting bolts through the backs of heads of beings who might be guilty or might just have been in the wrong place. The armor changes from white to the new Imperial design. But underneath it, you are still just CC-2379, still Striker, still a weapon pointed wherever the Empire desires. Your original battalion is long gone, most of them dead in the transition from Republic to Empire, either killed in the final battles of the Clone Wars or in the purge of Jedi sympathizers. The new clones, the ones decanted after the war ended, are different somehow, colder, more distant. Or maybe you are the one who has changed, hollowed out by years of killing until there is nothing left inside but the mission. The Empire begins phasing out clones in favor of recruited stormtroopers, Nat-born humans who volunteer or are conscripted into service. You watch as your numbers dwindle, companies dissolved, battalions restructured with more and more regular humans filling the ranks. The Nat-borns look at clones with a mixture of respect and unease, aware of your reputation but uncomfortable with what you represent. They have families they will return to, futures they can imagine. You have nothing but the armor and the rifles and the mission. At 13 years old, with a 26-year-old body that feels 40, you are assigned to a garrison on an outer rim world called D6. It is a punishment posting, a backwater planet with no strategic value, where aging clones are sent to finish out their usefulness, guarding supply depots and processing refugees. The work is boring and demeaning, so far removed from the intensity of the clone wars that it feels like being erased, your purpose and identity stripped away until you are just a body filling a post. The other clones in the garrison are all veterans, all survivors of campaigns you recognize from the scars they carry and the battalions they reference. You share barracks with them, sleep in bunks that line the walls of a prefabricated structure that smells like mold and stale air. At night, you lie awake and listen to the sounds of brothers having nightmares, the gasps and whimpers and sometimes screams that everyone pretends not to hear in the morning. Some of the older clones, the ones who were decanted in the first wave and are now approaching the end of their accelerated lifespans, have started to break down in more obvious ways. Tremors in their hands, confusion about where they are or what year it is, injuries that never quite heal. The Empire does not care. There is no medical pension, no retirement home for broken soldiers. When a clone can no longer serve, he is discharged with nothing, left to figure out survival in a galaxy that has no place for him. You think about the future sometimes, in the quiet moments between shifts. You are aging out, your body betraying you in small increments that will accelerate over the next few years. Your hair, already graying at the temples, will be fully white soon. Your joints will stiffen, your reflexes slow, your strength diminish. You will be 28 in clone years, 56 in biological age, and too old to be useful. Then what? Where does a clone go when he is no longer a soldier? You have no skills beyond warfare, no education beyond tactics and weapons. You have no family, no home world, no connections to anything or anyone outside the military structure. You are a weapon that is wearing out, and weapons that no longer function are discarded. Sometimes you think about Camino, about the window in the barracks and the storms beyond. You wonder if the cloning facilities are still operational, or if the Empire shut them down, if there are still cadets being trained in those sterile, white corridors. You wonder if any of them will live long enough to experience what you have, or if the wars will consume them before they ever have a chance to age. Part of you hopes for the latter, because aging means remembering, and remembering is its own form of torture. You stand on the perimeter wall of the garrison at night, looking out at the alien landscape of D6, at the unfamiliar stars and the distant lights of settlements. The helmet is clipped to your belt, and the wind on your face feels strange after years of breathing recycled air. Your body aches, a low, constant pain that you have learned to live with, and you taste blood in your mouth from the implant failure that the medic said was not urgent enough to treat. You are tired, so profoundly tired that sleep no longer helps, and you wonder what it would be like to just stop, to put down the rifle and walk away from the garrison and keep walking until you find somewhere quiet to simply cease. But you will not do that because you are a clone trooper, and clone troopers do not desert, do not quit, do not choose their own path. You will stand your post and follow your orders and serve until your body fails completely, or until the Empire decides you are no longer useful. This is what you were made for. This is all you have ever been. You think about General Cham sometimes, about the way the Jedi looked at you in that final moment on Felucia. You wonder if Cham would have helped you, if there had been a choice, if the thing in your head had not flipped that switch and turned you into an executioner. You wonder if any of it mattered. The war and the battles and the thousands of dead brothers, if the galaxy is any better now than it was before. But these are dangerous thoughts, the kind that lead to doubt, and doubt is a luxury that clone troopers cannot afford. The war created you, shaped you, used you, and now it is discarding you. You are a relic of a conflict that the Empire wants to forget, a reminder of methods that are no longer politically expedient. The new stormtroopers are younger, more malleable, less haunted by the things they have seen and done. They will be the Emperor's weapon now, and you and your brothers will fade into obscurity, dying quietly in garrison posts and forgotten colonies, erased from history as thoroughly as the Jedi you helped. You replace the helmet, sealing yourself back into the armor, and the HUD flickers to life, painting the world in tactical overlays and threat assessments. Your shift is not over. There are hours still to go, standing on this wall, watching for threats that will never come, performing a function that has no meaning. And tomorrow you will do it again, and the day after that, each day bleeding into the next in an endless gray march toward an end you can see coming, but cannot. Somewhere in the galaxy, the war continues in different forms, new conflicts brewing, new soldiers being trained and deployed and sacrificed. The machinery of violence grinds on, consuming lives and futures, and you are just one small cog in that machine, worn smooth by use, waiting to be replaced. Your life was never your own. From the moment of your creation to whatever moment marks your death, you have been property, a thing made for a purpose, and that purpose is destruction. You destroyed the Separatists, destroyed the Jedi, and now you stand on this wall and watch the slow destruction of yourself, the inevitable decay of a body that was never designed to last. The wind picks up, carrying with it the smell of the alien vegetation that surrounds the garrison, and you breathe it in through your helmet filters, tasting the chemical breakdown of foreign proteins. In the distance, lightning flashes, and for just a moment you are transported back to Camino, to the window and the storm and the brief illusion of something beyond the training and the killing. But that moment passes, as all moments do, and you are left with only this, the weight of armor, the ache in aging bones, the knowledge that carries no comfort, only the certainty that the horrifying life of a clone trooper was always meant to end, exactly like this, forgotten and alone. A weapon that outlived its usefulness, waiting for a final order that will never come.